Thank you, everyone. And once again, I would like to welcome you for joining our Enlightenment Through Meditation session every Saturday, 6 o'clock. I, as always, like to thank all of you for being able to calm your minds down and taking the time to listen to what is being said and absorb whatever we can at that moment. Really thankful for that and look forward to be doing these sessions. As you all know, we have been concentrating on happiness sessions because whatever we do in our lives, if it doesn't lead to happiness at the end of the day, we go back into thinking, whatever I have done, how come I am not happy or happy? Because it can go either way. And same thing as it goes along a long time in our life, even at the later stages of life, we start to looking what did we do in our life and could we end up in finding some sort of happiness for ourselves. Because generally we do a lot of things to give happiness to others, which is a great deed. But at the same time, we check ourselves, did it make us happy or where our advancement went when we tried to do those deeds. So let's carry on, and today's topic is self-worth, high or low, and its relationship with happiness. So self-worth is very important. All life long we evaluate ourselves. We want to know what is our self-worth. In different ways, we look at it in financial terms, in physical terms. We want to know in our reputation terms what is our self-worth. If we are present somewhere and not present somewhere, how we are perceived, that is our self-worth. So it comes in different shapes and forms in our lives. And what we want to discuss today is when it comes to happiness, where do we see ourselves? What is our self-worth? And a few points we will discuss is what is self-worth, why it gets sometimes high and sometimes low. It's fluctuating. It's not possible to keep it at the same point always. And why is that? And when we go to the lower parts of our self-worth, can we do something to change it back to the higher side so we can feel better about ourselves? Because in this life, we are self. There is something about self. Wherever we go, we talk about ourself. I am like this. I do like this. I like this. I don't like this. We are always talking about ourself because it is self. Our existence is because of these self. So if our self we feel is on the higher side, or we evaluate and put it at a higher step, we feel good about it. At the same time, if we find out that we don't like us as much, our actions as much, what we do as much, then we figure out that we are not happy within ourselves. So our self-worth goes down. And it is part of life. Because in life, the wheel is not always up there. Sometimes we are born in a very poor family and there are hardships all the way from the very get-go. We are homeless from the very get-go, never get to feel what a high house environment is like. And at the same time, when we go and we feel somewhere where some of our friend or whatever is living in that environment and it's an happy environment, we start feeling to ourselves and talking to ourselves, and we find that our self-worth goes down because we feel we never got that environment. So, what is it and why it comes so often to us? Right? What is self worth? When we start looking into self worth, we always know how we see ourselves. Sometimes, when we go somewhere, when we share something with some friends or relatives, or even our parents, or our teachers, or our students, or in society, we present ourselves in a certain way. So we are accepted in society. People like us, they talk about us. We have a place or a value in society. It's very important for our existence because although we are self, we are born, we are living in a place where everything goes in relation to something else. People to home, people to plants, plants to street, dealing with others. There is always a harmonious environment or an environment around us. So when we move in that environment, we need to make sure that we feel something about us so we can present ourselves in the society in that way, shape, and form. If it goes to what we think we should be presented as, we maintain a status quo because we feel okay, if it is not high, it's not too low either. And we see as ourselves this way, we are being presented like that, and we are being received like that, and that satisfies us. But as I said, it is life. And in life, everything changes, it's very dynamic. So sometimes we feel in a certain way, we are not received in a certain way. Our self worth, even if a friend says, hey, you are not looking good or you are not where you need to be, it brings our self worth down. And it starts affecting us because whatever we feel inside is going to be represented in our actions. So when it is brought down, it takes our happiness away. And when it takes it away, we go further down. The further down we go, the more happiness we lose. And sometimes, little by little, if this continues on, we find that our self worth goes so down that we start thinking of suicide type of thoughts. The negative thoughts so low that we feel like why living is even worth it. That is going down. On the contrary, sometimes we do something and we get recognition for it. And there is good words all around it. It increases our self-worth. When we do more, it brings our happiness more. We do more activities and it likewise it goes up. But even when we are sitting up there, something may happen that is so detrimental to us. It may be our own doing that it brings us down and our self-worth goes down. So now up and down we talk that things may happen that bring us high or low. But the question is when it is high, it is a possibility that it can come down. But when it is down, although a possibility that it will come up, but going up is always harder than coming down. So what happens that can bring our self-worth higher in all truthfulness to us? That becomes a very important point because coming down it easy. So how do we judge ourselves? Where do we stand? And if we feel our self-worth is low, why it is low? And there comes the value of self-awareness. Because self-awareness is such that helps us to determine where we stand and in reality what is so important and what will go with us and the value of it. You know, there is a saying that the person who is advanced in self awareness is not selfish because there is so much contact or connection with everything around it that it starts the person or the self awareness within a person starts to link everything around its own presence, that is it harmonious and in complete balance. Whereas when the self awareness is not high at that stage as yet, we look into what am I getting? What is happening to me? Everything becomes very self centered. So, when we are very self centered, and if everything is happening at the low end for us, immediately our self worth goes down. So, to bring it up or maintain it a higher level, what we need, what can we need, and how we convince ourselves that we have everything that is needed to keep our inner self at a higher stage. And that is an important, a little complex question. As we go deeper into it, the self worth, we know as a fact that all our life that we pass from since we are born to the day we leave the physical body is our actions. And at the time when we are leaving, because everyone has to leave, that's the law, that's the divine law. Whatever is born will end some other time. The lifespan we don't know, but that will happen. So when we are leaving, when we start looking it from a perspective that there is definitely this body we cannot take, this material that we can collect all the time we cannot take, everything that belongs to this material plane we cannot take. But we also know that the conscious entity within ourselves, which is beyond life and death, needs to go, and our self worth is dictated by what level of awareness we have and the actions we do, then that is what goes with us. The interesting thing is, and I share it with you, the most interesting thing is that when a child is born, maybe in palaces or on the street, the breathing is the same. Heart is palpitating the same way. The hearing power, the seeing power, all that is similar. So the provision to connect to within ourselves has not been differentiated by the baby who is born on a street or in a palace. It is the same. So getting into our own self is very powerful. We don't need anybody else. We can just concentrate within ourselves and can go within and check us out. And at that time, when we find our self-worth is coming low on our scale, however we are evaluating, we need to look, why are we testing? Are we really testing our self-awareness, which is beyond this material possessions, or we are checking if our materials, our knowledge, our level reputation in the society, are we checking that is higher or lower on a material plane, or are we checking this is my self-worth? If I had only 50 cents to spend on someone and then I did out of my heart, and it helped that person, and I saw a smile on that person, my self-worth is more. I feel good. I feel happy about it. And it increases my self worth to a higher point rather than just acquiring a physical thing and saying now my self worth is more because somebody might give me that respect or status. Because as long as we feel that way, that person looking at that thing can give us, but it may be very temporary. It may not last for too long. And if we are dependent on that person to give us those words that makes our self-worth go high or low, that's not long lasting because we are dependent. As long as that person is saying we are good, but the moment it withdrew itself, we are down back again. So self-worth needs to be evaluated by our own self, and that is why it's called self-worth. We need to check where we stand, not anyone else. And therefore, as we are feeling we are getting low on self-worth, we need to realize what truly it means and what are the actions we need to do that make us feel better, lifts our self-worth higher, because as it becomes higher we are directly connected to happiness because we feel good about ourselves. Good means being happy about it, and then we will do more of those actions that bring our self-worth high. We speak truth, for example. It's a simple thing. We are speaking truth. But little by little, even if we are wearing a $5 shirt or $100 shirt, speaking truth has no value attached to it. That do you talk $5 worth of truth or $100 worth of truth? Although we try, our minds try to put value to everything, but truth is truth. And when we speak the truth and it leads into a very good cause and the ultimate result is really good, our self-worth is up. Regardless of material, our worth is up, and that gives us happiness. This also gives us true recognition. That also makes our self-worth higher. So when we are feeling lower on our self-worth, what should be our actions that we can come up in our own self? Because it's our own happiness. Either we have it or we don't have it. So what are those things that we should do that make us feel good? And part of that comes all those actions that may not have the monetary value attached to them. They are more abstract. We do kindness. It's a virtuous act. We are helping. It's a virtuous act. We have patience. It's a virtuous act. Sometimes we may find people that just want to share their hardship. We are absorbing. We are working in harmony with the nature. We are helping someone without doing anything, just listening with the ears that were given to us, and we heard and we took somebody's pain away. So what happens when we went to our place in the evening, we saw our self-worth was feeling better already. Why? Because we did an action that was helping someone. Our virtuous character of helping came higher. That increased our self-worth, and also our awareness was higher because we learned from that action next time how we will do, what we will do, and anything that comes in those guidelines, how we will manage it the next time. That increased our awareness. Now with that awareness, when we looked at ourselves, we found out other ways. Okay, next time we will do like that, or whatever that makes us feel better. And the other thing, what happens as we start to grow ourselves under those guidelines, we start helping our friends or our relatives or those who are also going through this down phase of their lives where they feel their worth is lower. And we start helping them by these virtuous actions that they can perform. They don't need to buy, there is nothing involved. And with that, once they start feeling and working with the nature, because nature, the divine law, is also what you give out comes back to you many folds. And in one of the sessions, I also went over in terms of why that divine law works like that. So when this self awareness grows up and starts to help our own self worth to come up higher, and we spread this word to our other friends, relatives, or whoever we are, and we help them to bring their self worth higher. Can you imagine you are spreading this good thing in the whole society? And when you spread good, it has to come back to you many, many folds more, not because you are looking for it, because you are doing it as it is coming from own actions and your own self. That's all to it. There is nothing that you have to go outside to find, but look within, because all these characters, good characters and the negative characters or negative attributes as we call, we bring them within ourselves. It is just what we pull out from ourselves and have it grow further and further. We all know anger, we all have, and it comes even if we want or not want. And if we get angry with someone, later on our self tells us, hey, I shouldn't have been that hard. And sometimes we have the guts, the courage to go to someone and say, would you forgive me? Now, at that time, the attribute of forgiveness is coming up. And when we go with an open heart, somebody, whoever we hurt their feelings, they have to come back, because that's how it works. And as soon as we hear that we have been forgiven, immediately our self worth comes up and we feel good. Our self awareness goes up. All these virtuous characters go up. So let us decide, or let us think from this activity or this guidelines, or this processing, that when we go low in our self-worth, what we need to do, how we go within ourselves, look for all those virtuous characters, bring them out, and start using them for our own growth and the growth of all around us, and spread the feeling of pleasure or happiness that is within us. Thank you so much for joining. And as always, I like to mention that if you have any comments or suggestions, please write to us during the session, or you can write to us on Ustream or YouTube, that is drkors.com slash, youtube.com slash drkors, or on our website, that is drkors.com, or you can visit our Facebook page, that is facebook.com slash drkors. Remember, happiness is not too far. I always enjoy these sessions, and I love you all, and we'll see you next Saturday at 6 o'clock. Thank you so much.